Opinions are so divided. Some people think that you should be a multi-hyphenate creative, and maybe you want to be, but the question is, how do you balance everything else that you want to do on top of being an actor? And some people really don't want to be all of the other things. They don't want to write, they don't want to produce, they don't want to direct, they just want to act. Is that the right choice? Well, I think the question to ask is not, is it the right choice, period, but is it the right choice for you? That's what we're discussing in today's episode. I'm so glad that you are here. Let's go ahead and dive right in. This is the Empowered Actors Podcast. I am your host, Adele James, and this is how you build a successful acting career that lasts decades, not just until you book your next job. Welcome back to Season 1, Episode 9 of the Empowered Actors Podcast. Here we are, and today we are talking all about the, I think, illusion of balance and or whether or not the right choice is to be a multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate, multi-creative human being who does all of the things on top of their acting career, and or whether or not it really is okay just to be an actor. Well, there's no just about it, but whether or not it really is all right to beeline towards that one thing with everything you've got. Because, you know, the conversation has really shifted over the years. Once upon a time, it was the more common school of thought that you didn't want to confuse people, you didn't want to distract people, you didn't want to have a plan B, otherwise you didn't really care enough about plan A. And already that whole idea just annoys me. Because as somebody who has written, has directed, has produced their own work, and who has a business, right, who supports herself outside of her acting career really very well, and I think it's allowed me to actually flourish in my acting career so much in the 5 years that I've had my business. You know, it just feels like if I had have listened to that whole like plan A, plan B thing, I would be in a very, very different place. And also, there really is only plan A, just in the sense that we only live one life as far as we know. And so plan A is just the series of choices that you make over the course of your lifetime. Of course, there's no plan B because we have no quantifiable data for what would have happened if we made different choices. We only have the choices that we do make. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's been that school of thought that, you know, you should stick to your lane, stay in your lane as an actor. And then in the last, I would say definitely 10 years, 15 years, 20 years potentially, slowly and then rapidly, we've had the Issa Raes, the Michaela Coles, the Phoebe Waller-Bridges, the Tiana Taylors, you know, who have really risen to such prominent success and shown us that it is possible to have all of those things, to be many things at once. And the result is that it's freed some people up to be able to do all of the things. And it's put loads of pressure on people who kind of don't want to do that, who don't want to be a writer or a director or producer or any of the other things, right? So the push and pull of it all is really real. And no matter which side of the kind of line you live on, whether you are a multi-hyphenate or you are an actor through and through, and that's all you want to do, it's leaving everybody feeling kind of scattered because everybody feels like they're not quite doing it the right way. Everybody feels like they're not quite doing it right, whichever one they're doing. And they are looking at the other people on the other side of the line of which they have put themselves, and they are kind of using other people's experience, of which they can only see a small part, of which they can only see a fraction of, to discredit the choices that they've made for themselves. I can tell you at this point in my career, I am very much focused on acting as my primary and then my business as my secondary. And that really works for me. And there have been other seasons of my career where, as I said, I've written, I have directed, I have produced both short films and also stage work. You know, it's varied over the years, and I would absolutely encourage right off the bat that flexibility is a really kind thing that you can kind of give yourself, that you can have for yourself and with yourself. flexibility around what you want to do and when you want to do it and when you don't want to do it anymore. I think all of that, very, very useful. Am I saying because I did write short films and I did write for TV and now I don't, that I'll never do it again? No. In fact, actually, I tell a lie. I am writing a feature film at the moment with a very good friend. And I love that, and it's very no pressure. It's very low stakes. We're just working on this thing that we really enjoy. And for me, that's a really big part of why I want to do it, because when it was so wrapped up in, if I don't do this, I will fail, I obviously didn't enjoy it at all. And I'm sure you can absolutely relate to that. It doesn't feel good when you're doing things out of obligation or when you're doing things because you feel like you have to. But when you do them just simply because of the love of it, it's a whole other story, right? So what I think we should do is I think we should talk about both of those things completely separately. We should talk about what it means to be a multi-hyphenate and how you can perhaps balance that a bit better. And then I think we should talk about what it means to just be focused on the acting. And again, there's no just about it, but we'll talk about that as well. And hopefully through discussing both of those things in a bit more detail and with a bit more depth, you'll actually be able to figure out for yourself which one feels the one that you're most called to at the moment. And if you feel like you're swaying or deferring to the other side at some point in the future, you can come back to this and listen and see if that's true and honest and authentic to you, or if it feels like something that's born out of the P word, pressure. Hi, my love. Super quick cutaway. I just wanted to remind you, in case you haven't already, to please hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcast, just because, one, I don't want you to miss a beat, and two, it really helps us to get further reach so that more actors know that there is help out there, so that I can help support more actors. I would be so grateful for your help on this mission. And if you feel so inclined, why not give us a cheeky rating too? We'd love 5 stars, but whatever you feel is right is good too. Mwah! Thank you so much. Shall we get back into the episode? Let's go. So let's talk first about range, about being that multi-hyphenate. Because listen, range can be a real asset. You get complete creative control, or much more creative control over some of the projects that you're in, just purely because you wrote them or you're directing them or you're producing them. That kind of power and autonomy is amazing. It can be really, really incredible. It's also, honestly, a lot of responsibility. So please don't go into it thinking like, this is going to be a walk in the park. Doesn't mean it's going to be awful, but just walk into it understanding that it is a responsibility, and that in, the respect that all projects are collaborative, creative endeavors, that it's not just a responsibility that you have to yourself. If you're, say, writing something that you want to be in, you're also going to be bringing in a bunch of other people to help get that thing made. So yes, we love it and it's a responsibility, but ultimately it's a responsibility that does afford you so much more creative control. And within that, it gives you a much more 360-degree view of how things get made, of what the process looks like from every single angle, or from more angles than the one of actor and actor alone. And I think that can be really beneficial, because there is an empathy that is incredibly valued and valuable on any working set, on any theatre production. I think to have a real understanding of what other people are going through, what it takes to get other jobs done, makes you a much more wonderful person to work with. And I'm sure you already are. It's not necessary, but it is a nice to have. I definitely have much more of an appreciation of what the crew are up against, of what they have to think about, of how all of these parts slot together than I did before I started making my own work. And listen, I haven't made my own film for probably about 4 years now. It's been maybe a bit longer than that, maybe about 6 or 8 years. Gosh, well, anyway, it's been a while. And still I carry with me the knowledge of what it really takes to put a project together, even at a small scale and with a very tight budget. There's a kind of second hand that it affords me that I never used to have before I got into that work on the other side of the screen, right? And on the other side of the stage. Now, I've always been a person who has been a big advocate for like learning people's names, saying hello to everybody, being kind, being a decent person to work with, etc. You know, treating everybody like a human being and appreciating what other people are doing, whether you understand it or not. And there is a first-hand experience that you just cannot have unless you've been in those trenches. You know what I mean? In the same way that a lot of crew don't know what the demands are of an actor. They don't know firsthand. They can sympathize, but they can't necessarily empathize. And that's not a problem necessarily. It's just what it is. And then the other thing that's amazing about being a multi-creative person is that you expand your opportunities. Look at the people that I listed in the beginning. Issa Rae is what she is today because of a web series that she put on YouTube. Michaela Cole is what she is today because of her final year project that she made while she was studying at drama school, Chewing Gum, which then went on to become a stage play, which then went on to become a TV show. And now she's literally about to come out in another TV show that she's written or she's filming at the moment, and that will be coming out soon. You know, she's created an entire career for herself by putting herself in roles that other people previously wouldn't have put her in. There really is a power, I think, to putting yourself in the positions that you've not yet been given the opportunity to play. This is one way in which you have so much power to kind of co-create the journey that you're going on, the success story that you're living. You don't just have to wait until you're cast or plucked from obscurity. Absolutely not. You definitely do have power to put yourself in those rooms, in those roles, if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to. And on that note, I will just reiterate that I really think that the multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate thing has to come from a place of love. When you listen to Tiana Taylor talking about being a musician and then diving into the acting and now into directing and then going back to the music, but as like more like a manager and then wanting to make her own music again, it's not out of obligation. It's not out of, I need to do this now, I need to pivot in this direction now so that I can be successful. It is out of a desire to do all of these things. You don't have to be a Tiana Taylor. I don't have to be a Tiana Taylor. I don't want to do all of the things that she does. And if that is what you want to do, please know that it is available, right? Use people who are multi-hyphenates as example, as evidence that it is possible for you, but not as a prison, not as a restriction over anything that you have to do. There is no have to do, there is no should do, there is just what do you want. And if you're going to do it, definitely be like a Tiana Taylor. Own it. Celebrate it. Be like a Michaela Cole. Own it. Celebrate it. Be a Cynthia Erivo. Be an Ariana Grande. Own it and celebrate it. Celebrate who you are. Don't dim down one of these parts of you to make the other one or ones more palatable. When was being talented ever a bad thing? How on earth did we learn to paint talent, multi-talented people as too much or confusing? It's not. You know what? I really think that comes from jealousy. If I'm being like all the way real, I think it comes from jealousy. I think it's from people who wish that they could hold all of those things. Because goodness knows, I'm not jealous, but I am in awe. I am in awe of people who can hold all of these things at the same time, who can flow almost seamlessly, and I'm sure it never feels seamless from the inside, but who can flow almost seamlessly from all of these different positions, all these different roles, wearing all these different hats. And you know, the truth is, you're always going to be more than an actor because you're a human being. You know, you're a sister, brother, daughter, father, cousin, best friend, mother, father, you know, you're all of these things all the time. And you absolutely can give yourself permission to have many different creative hats, professionally speaking too. I think the honest thing is that you just have to learn to define yourself for yourself. What do you want? Go out there and tell people. Own it. Live the dream. And on the other side of the spectrum, if you're asking yourself, well, what do I want? And the answer is absolutely none of that. I want to be an actor and an actor only. And I'm not talking about like, do you want to have a business? Do you want to make money outside of your acting career, etc., because I think that honestly, that should just be a given. Not necessarily having your own business, but definitely using acting as your only income stream, I personally find to be kind of selling yourself a bit short, because even the A-listers, the Jen Anns of the world, right? None of them are making all of their money from acting, so why should you have to? And also, realistically speaking, in the earlier days, even like 15 or so years into your career, you will probably find that it is supportive to you to have multiple income streams. I can't imagine not having my business anymore. I can't imagine not making money outside of being an actor. And I make money as an actor. I just find it incredibly supportive, incredibly freeing, incredibly spacious to have an income stream that doesn't squander then my creative outlet when I do get acting jobs. Because if I was acting for the money, oh man, my work would come out very differently. And it has done. I actually talk much more about balancing being an actor and being a business owner and being a human in the outtakes, which you might remember is my private audio drop membership, where I take you behind the scenes of my own acting career in real time, and I'm giving you audio drops as I walk down the river, and I'm in the rehearsal room, and I'm at the award ceremony, and I'm doing all of the things to give you insight into where you're going and what lessons you can take on in your career right now, but also that you can have in your back pocket for when you inevitably advance in this career yourself as well. We have our own area on the Empowered Actors app, which is a private app just for us. And it's just £39 a month, and you can sign up at the link below this episode. So I talk about balancing all those different areas of my life a lot more over there. But what I will say just here is that when I say if you don't want to do the other things and you just want to be an actor, I'm not talking about not making good money to support yourself and your acting career outside of your acting career. What I am talking about is if acting is the only industry hat that you want to wear, good for you. I think that's great. Why not? You know, I think all of it is absolutely fine. None of it is good. None of it is bad. It all just is what you either do or don't want, right? I would say at this stage in my career, definitely, I am more focused on the acting and the acting alone. Yes, I've got a little writing project going on with my friend, but ultimately, acting is the primary focus for me at this point in my career. Will that change someday? Maybe, probably. Am I okay with that? Yes. Because I don't think that there is some way that I should do my career. There is just what I want to do in my career. So if you're somebody who's like, look, all I'm hearing is you should be a writer, you should be writing your own roles, you should then be directing the roles, you should be casting it and producing it and funding it and finding the money and all the things, just take a pause. Whose idea of building a career is that? If it's not yours, where did you learn it from? Where did you pick it up from? Is it the only or ultimate truth? Is that how everybody builds their acting career? Is it how you have to build your acting career? Otherwise, it absolutely won't happen. Is it really? Let's just think about it for a second. Is there any evidence that there are people in this industry who are incredibly successful, in fact, who only focus on being an actor, who don't jump into the director's seat or the writer's seat or the producer's seat or the casting director's seat or whatever other seat there is? I would say, yeah, there is. There's lots of them. Maybe more of them than are multi-hyphenates, actually. And I think bullying yourself into doing something you don't want to do is ultimately just going to make you resentful. It's going to burn you out, and it is probably going to make you want to quit. And I don't think you want to quit. I think you want to keep going. I just think you want to do it your own way, and you don't want to do it the way that Susie over there is saying, or Mike over there is suggesting, or Bill over there is doing. You want to just do it your way. And that's great. It's perfect for you. The thing I will say about all of this, if you are thinking about only wearing the acting creative hat, is get yourself in front of the people who are wearing the other hats, whether they're actors as well or not. Get yourself in front of the people, because there are still ways for you to create opportunity and expand opportunities for yourself, but it requires you to what? Raise your hand. It requires you to tell the humans that you're available for work and to put yourself up for things and to be a part of other people's creative processes, right? Everything we do is a collaboration, no matter where you sit on the kind of spectrum of roles or seats within this creative industry. If you occupy one or multiple, it doesn't really matter. Each project is a collaboration of multiple people. So no one person, no matter how many seats you sit in, no matter how many hats you sit in on that one project, no project is made up of one man, one woman, one person, one island, right? Everything involves the collaboration of multiple people. Everything is the sum of its parts, and you get to be one of those parts, but you can only be one of those parts if you tell people that you're available for work, you make yourself available for work, you raise your hand, because nobody found anybody who wasn't looking to be found. So, the action plan for today. I want you to consider all of the things that you have been floating around in your head that you either are doing all at the same time, so all the different seats, all the different hats that you're wearing, and or all the things that you're considering adding in. And it might be one thing, it might be several things, but just hold all of those things, maybe write them all down actually. And I want you to go through each one, and I want you to ask 3 different questions for each one. Question number 1, does this thing support or distract from my career, my acting career, my brand, my life? Does it support or does it distract? Question number 2, if I'm being very honest with myself, do I have capacity to add this in right now? Would this be something that would be better added in later on down the line? And or am I ready to take this on right now? Question number 3, am I expanding or am I avoiding? Is this a form of procrastination? Or is this me realizing everything I truly want and truly desire? And if it's the former, so if this is something that is expanding you, I really want you to work on this belief. I can handle it. I can handle it all. I am the kind of person who can hold multiple things, and I can handle it. No matter what happens, I'm going to handle it. I am handling it. Okay, that's it, my loves. That is it. I hope this has helped clear up some things for you around whether or not to go down the multi-hyphenate route. I will remind you again that you will always be more than just an actor, in quotation marks, in the sense that you are a human being before you are anything else. Before you are anything else. And there's no right or wrong way to build your acting career. There is only the way that you want to. So if you want to be a director and or a writer and or a producer on top of being an actor, go for it. Own it. Enjoy it. You can handle it. And if you only want to do acting with regards to your creative hats in the industry specifically, great. Go for it. Own it. Embrace it. You can handle it. And also, if you want to change your mind at any point down the line, go for it. Embrace it. That is your right. You deserve to. You can handle it. You can handle it. That's all there is to say on that. And if you want to go deeper, we're coming up to the end of season 1 now, and I just want to remind you that there is also the Outtakes membership, which is my private audio drop membership. That is where you come behind the scenes with me in my own career, and I talk you through the lessons that I am learning and or imparting based on what I'm going through in my real life, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, as I continue to build my own acting career and just live on this ball of rock as a human being alongside you. And it's just £39 a month. You can sign up at the link below this episode. I would love to have you in it. And when this season ends, the Outtakes will continue. So this will be a nice way for us to keep in touch, a nice way for me to keep you in the loop, a nice way for me to keep giving you juicy golden goodness between seasons of this public-facing podcast in a private space where I can say all of the things that I can't say maybe over here. I will leave you to interpret what that means and or just come inside the audio drop membership the outtakes yourself and find out. Thank you so much for joining me today for the penultimate episode of season 1 of the Empowered Actors podcast. I am rooting for you so big, so big, so big. And I will see you for the final episode of season 1 next week. I am so excited. It's going to be a hoot. I am not going to cry. I will see you there. And in the meantime, take the very best care of yourself.